So, in this installment of things that live rent free in my head, you know exactly what this is. Now, there's other lines throughout the movie, but this one has become such an iconic line um, that the first comment I read on this was a reference to this line. Now, people say you can't hear pictures. You know what she's saying. You know it. You can hear it. But this is Donnie Darko, or Donnie Dorko, as people call it sometimes. The director's cut is actually a little longer than the theatrical release. This one has more context when it comes to like the living receiver, the controlled dead, and time travel, this, that. So if you're looking for a way to spend 2 hours and 13 minutes and you've seen the first one and didn't really understand what was going on, this is gives you a better understanding of what it's talking about. But without further ado, one of the best lines, it really shouldn't be, one of the best lines in the movie.
Sometimes I doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion.
So Sparkle Motion is the little dance group. Her and Donnie's sister, they're in the little group called Sparkle Motion. And this line, the first fucking comment, theatrical release and director's cuts, I no longer doubt YouTube's commitment to Sparkle Motion. The Smurf rant is one of the best most hilarious things in all cinema. Yeah, that was the other one. But this one definitely lives more rent-free in my head. So there's another part in the movie where Donnie's with his friends and they're talking about the Smurfs and how Papa Smurf created Smurfette because all the other Smurfs were getting horny and this and that. And then Donnie just takes a fucking wrecking ball to it and he drops truth bombs. He's like, Papa Smurf did not create Smurfette. Gargamel did. He created her to infiltrate and, destroy Smurf Village, but the overwhelming goodness of the Smurfs transformed her. And then, and then they kind of like, damn, Donnie, why you have to be all smart like that? But yeah, this Sparkle Motion, again, it's a little group with her daughter, Donnie's sister. Also, fun fact, Donnie, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, is starring in the movie with his actual sister, Maggie Gyllenhaal, who plays his sister in the movie. And that was another thing I was going to talk about real fast. So, spoiler alert, Donnie dies at the end, because that's the whole purpose. In order to kind of fix things, Donnie has to die. He is the chosen one. You can also see, like, in the preview, like this stuff, it explains so much more. So you'll see, like, in the movie, you're watching the movie and you see Donnie's dad and him and Donnie's dad's friends, they're sitting there like watching football, and you start seeing this thing coming out of their chest. It's like this liquidy kind of snake worm kind of thing, and it kind of just flows around. And it's like, where the fuck did that come from? But then it shows you in the movie, the director's cut, exactly what it is. Watching Watership Down, which I wish they were showing us that when I was a kid, when I was in high school. Just Watership Down. What else do I need to fucking say? But there's the part at the end where it finally happens and we have this, actually can't really play the music, but so it just shows like a little, not like a really montage, but so we have Maggie Gyllenhaal. She's, this is her character, and she's, so I'm thinking it was on the, was it last week? I think it was, but I was watching it and I'm sitting here, I was like, for this moment, because her and Jake are actual siblings. So for this moment where they're bringing out her brother on the stretcher, he's been crushed by a fucking jet engine. Do you think that as that gurney is being carried out, do you think she's imagining her actual brother? Because that's what actors and actresses do for these emotional scenes. They try to that's Bryan Cranston in Breaking Bad, like the episode where he's got the he's with Jane and and Jesse and Jane starts to kind of, vomit and all that, and he wants to save her, but you see the tears, and Bryan Cranston says, like, no, those were actual tears. Like, he's looking at this young girl who's young enough to be his daughter, just choking on vomit, and he's seeing the face of his daughter, and he just fucking breaks. So it's like, in this moment, is she imagining her actual brother, and that's what's causing the action? Because these are, like, you can see the way it is, like, those are genuine emotions. Those are genuine, because I imagine that's what she's doing. She's imagining her brother. But yeah, this movie also has like Seth Rogen. It's got a lot of famous people. Drew Barrymore, Seth Rogen, before he was. It had fucking Jerry Trainer. Freaking Spencer, Crazy Steve. It's fucking who else? Patrick Swayze. I feel bad for him. He's got to play if they don't show anything, obviously, or him doing anything, but it's just kind of like a background plot of him being a fucking pedophile and having him like having this child ring or whatever. But then we have like, yeah, there he is, Cunningham, that old Patrick Swayze, man. Rest in peace, man. Rest in fucking peace. The Manipulated Living, Living Receiver, Troll Dead. It's all part of the movie that they explain. And this movie was, I mean, it's a good movie. It really is a good movie. It's just, if you don't watch this version, you don't know what's going on. You've got, yeah, Frank, who people don't know, like, who the fuck is Frank, right? You're watching this movie, you see this fucking costumed man, with this awesome looking mask, and it's fucking awesome. It really is. Even this was 2001. It's really cool. And you're wondering, like, who the fuck is Frank? And then kind of at the end of the movie, they break into Grandma Death's house, or into the cellar, and he Frank kind of pulls in and kind of runs over Donnie's girlfriend. And his friend is like, Frank, what did you do? And then you see him get out. He's holding the mask, and we've got to see him the first time. But when we first see Frank without the mask on, it's in the cinema. They're watching a movie, and he has like a busted eye. So we don't get to see his full face, really. We do get to see it, but his eyes busted like out. But here we get to see Frank and what role he plays, because Donnie's the one who kills him. He's like, what's she doing in the middle of the road? And then, Donnie just kind of shoots him. You see his eye, but so then we kind of know Frank's role and everything, why it was him. I kind of like the fact that they kind of saved who Frank was till the end. He's not a major character. But just the fact that it shows that actions have consequences, and actions can lead to other things. How Donnie was the one chosen to kind of do all of this, and how the controlled dead, in this case, Frank, was someone that he shot. So, I mean, it could have been anyone. It could have been like a god dressed up, but no, it was like, no, it's an actual dead person. Essentially, they're being controlled, or manipulated dead, or controlled dead, whatever it's actually called. But the movie is it is a good movie. It's just, it's not as amazing as some people would say. The people. Again, it's a lot better when you watch this version, the director's cut, because it does explain a lot. Actually, let me go ahead and just. Oh yeah, Donnie has a back and forth with his teacher about time travel, and then there's a moment where he's like, "Oh, I can't have this discussion with you anymore," and Donnie's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, because I could lose my job." I'm like, "That's fucking stupid." So you're not allowed to talk about something fictional because you'll lose your job. Of course, it's not actually fictional because, he does kind of time travel and has all this weird shit happening. So it's true and not true. And when the tangent universe occurs, those living nearest to the vortex will find themselves at the epicenter of a dangerous new world. Artifacts being the jet engine. Artifacts provide the first sign that a tangent universe has occurred. If an artifact occurs, the living will retrieve it with great interest and curiosity. Artifacts are formed from metal, such as arrowhead from an ancient Mayan civilization, or a metal sword from medieval Europe, or in this case, a jet engine. So throughout again, you see like the manipulated living will do anything to save themselves from oblivion. It also says that people like Donnie are gifted powers, telekinesis, control over elements, pyro, water, stuff like that. There was also the drawing. Also, there's this Asian chick. It's just weird how they implement her. It's like they make her seem like she's important, but she's kind of is, but she's kind of not. Sparkle motion. Oh yeah, I just saw it. Yeah, back. Yeah, so you have like what Donnie saw, how it's like this tubular looking, watery sort of out of the chest. And in here, it just kind of shows where it comes from and is exactly where Donnie sees it. And it just kind of flows around, and it's kind of like destiny or fate. It's like God's predetermined path for you. Because we see with Donnie's dad, and it gets up, and he's like, "Does anyone else want a beer?" And it leads him into the kitchen, and then one of the instances leads Donnie up to his parents' room where he finds a gun in the closet in the box. Presumably the same gun, obviously, that he uses to shoot Frank. But, then there's this whole discussion about whether you could, if you're able to see your path, your destiny, could you make choices that deviate from God's chosen path for you? So if you see it going in and you see it going right, could you then choose to go left? If you're able to see the God's channel, what he has in store for you. So if you're in your house and it's, taking you to the living room, could you then instead go out the front door, make a choice that changes the direction which God has set for you and go a different path? If you're able to see, this fate, this string of destiny, or whatever you want to call it. Yes, that is indeed the skull. That is the cervical spine. Your pelvic thrust. But yeah, again, it's for free, right? For free. Just like all those feet pictures online. For free in this economy. But it's free right now. I recommend the director's cut because, again, there's a lot of context that isn't shown in the theatrical, and it does make it more of a pleasant experience because it makes more sense when you see stuff like this popping up. But again, yeah, there's a few lines in this movie that really stick out to people, but sparkle motion, sometimes I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion. And the fact that it's such a great line that the first comment we read is that the person no longer doubts YouTube's commitment to Sparkle Motion. I think that says, I mean, hell, I think it's probably on Know Your Memes. Hang on. Now, I didn't find a meme like on Know Your Meme, but Urban Dictionary. So sometimes I doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion. A reference indicating that the person being doubted is lacking in the mock politeness required to convince someone that the person really cares about attending to events, duties, or rituals that no one should ever be asked to perform. From a quote from the movie Donnie Darko. You're not going to the Berkeley protest for organic leaks. Somehow I doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion. But now, in this case, this person, Wayne Sisson, no longer doubts YouTube's commitment to Sparkle Motion. All right. So I had to pause real fast and find this one. This was also the bigger one. Like I said, the living receiver. Living receiver is chosen to guide the artifact, meaning in this case, Donnie, the living receiver, guiding the artifact being the jet engine, into position for its journey back to the primary universe. No one knows how or why the receiver will be chosen. The living receiver is often blessed with fourth dimensional powers. These include increased strength, like being able to put an axe into a brass statue, telekinesis, mind control, and the ability to conjure fire and water. The living receiver is often tormented by terrifying dreams, visions, and auditory hallucinations during this time within the Tangent universe, which would explain why Donnie's so fucked up. You know, he's already had problems, and then his therapist, whoever, says that he's like paranoid schizophrenic and to up his dosage, and but then she's like, yeah, you can get off your pills. They're just placebos. It's just sugar water. But yeah, so increased strength, we see that with the axe and the bulldog's the statue's head. It's like, well, someone have to be really strong to embed that thing deep into the thing's head. Telekinesis, mind control, ability to conjure fire and water. I saw one comment said this is basically the plot to fucking Life is Strange. Guess we don't need a real live action Life is Strange now, do we? Because we already have it. But anyway, yeah, the movie, it's a good movie. Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie Gyllenhaal, when they're together, you know, you can tell they're siblings. There are a lot of other great quotes in the movie, but the Sparkle Motion one, I think, lives in most people's minds rent free. Because again, it's just out there, but it fits the character who's saying it. She's just a bitch. She's like the Dolores Umbridge of the movie. She's just a bitch and no one likes her. Pretty bad that people like Voldemort over Umbridge. The guy who goes around, kills people, wipes out entire families, he's more favorable than Dolores Umbridge. Make it make sense. Well, it's because he accepts it. He knows he's evil. He delights in being evil. Umbridge is like this woman. She puts on that, I'm so nice and kind and caring, but I'll say all these terrible things to you in your face while wearing a smile. You know, she's a terrible person. But anyway, Donnie Darko. Sometimes I doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion. Rent free. Doesn't matter if I'm taking a shit, waking up, going. It doesn't matter. This fucking line will just pop into my head for no fucking reason. No fucking reason. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.